Hey friends, welcome to the next episode of Synced Up Equipment Basics. My name is Kyle, and today is going to be a fun one because we finally get to actually start tossing equipment. We're going to be learning how to do a pop toss in today's video. Pop tosses are one of the first standard tosses taught in color guard. They essentially take what we learned with pull hits and increase the rotation to make it a full toss. If you haven't seen our video on pull hits yet, please make sure to go back and review that because that information is crucial to what we're going to be learning here today. And like always, please make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit that bell icon so you can stay up to date with us. And with that, let's go learn how to do our first toss. So pop tosses are just like pull hits, except with one extra full rotation to allow it to stay in the air just a little bit longer. Your catch position is going to be the same, but your starting position all the way to the catch is going to alter slightly just to allow for the difference of what the skill of a pop toss is. We're going to be going over everything from the starting position all the way through the catch position in this video. So to start for a pop toss, we're gonna go at our right angle that we've discussed in previous videos. For pull hits, we started with that top hand flipped on the other side, so that way we can start and catch in the same position regardless of what angle we were in. But for this, we're gonna start with that left hand on top as it normally is for a right angle. The first thing that you're gonna do to prep for a toss is you're gonna take what we learned in our cones exercise and you're just gonna do a bottom cone in front of you. This does two things for you. One, it clears the silk from the pole. So let's say if we didn't have that cone and our silk was standing right there and we pushed up, our pole would catch the silk. So we want to make sure that we use that cone to help clear the silk out of the pathway of where the pole is going to go to release. Along with that, it also builds up momentum for you and gives you energy to prep and build up into the release of the toss. So now that we've gone through the prep of the toss, I want to talk about what each hand contributes to create a toss. For a pop toss, the left hand is what's going to decide your speed and your right hand is what's going to decide your height. I'll go over that in a little bit of detail right now. So first, the left hand. You finished your bottom cone. From here, I want you to think about pushing that left hand down with as much energy and as much speed as you can. Obviously, we see that that causes the other side of the pole to react, and we can hear the speed and the whip of the tail of the silk. So you really want to think about pushing this as much as you can with as much energy and speed as you can muster. An analogy I like to use is imagine that that left hand has a tennis ball. If I was to just drop a tennis ball, it wouldn't bounce super high. But if I threw the tennis ball down, it would bounce up a little bit higher, right? Same thing applies with this. If I just drop that left hand or don't apply a lot of force to that left hand, it's not going to react the way I want it to. I want to really push this because that's what's going to cause the speed and the rotation that I need for it to fully rotate as a pop toss. For the right hand, that decides your height. So if I just push my left hand and I let go with my right hand, my flag would spin super low in front of me and I wouldn't get the full rotation. So I want to think of, as I am pushing that left hand down, I am also lifting that right hand up as high as I can. Think about punching the sky with that right hand. Because if I let go higher, that means that the flag will spin higher in the air and it'll have more time to finish its rotation. So you want to make sure you put the energy of both hands together to get the full speed and rotation and height that you need for a pop toss. Once you've pushed and extended as high as you can, you should be able to let go and the momentum can take care of the rest for itself. So before we get into releasing the pop toss, I want to first discuss how we catch it, because we can't just throw this in the air and hope for the best. We got to know how to put our hands back into it, right? So similar to our pull hits when we were catching at the angle, this catch position with the right hand on top of the tab and the left hand underneath at the bottom tape, that is the same catch position that you'll do for a pop toss. Along with this, when we were doing pull hits, the rotation, the direction that the flag was going is the same direction that the flag is going for a pop toss. So the momentum and the way that a pull hit felt as it connected to your hand is the same feeling that it will be when you go in to catch a pop toss. Now that we have all the components that put together a pop toss, that being the prep for the cone, the push of the left hand, lift of the right hand, and how to catch this toss, all you have to do is put it together and you get your full toss. So that looks like this: cone, release, squeeze. Notice that when I did that, I pushed my left hand with a lot of energy and lifted my right hand at the same time with a lot of energy and speed. If I don't do that, then my toss is going to look like this. right? And it's not fully rotating. It looks like a really lofty and slow pull hit. So we wanna make sure that we're adding that extra rotation to make sure that we get the full rotation of a pop toss. Speaking of rotation, when you're throwing a pop toss, you're gonna see that the silk goes up into the air twice before you go in for the catch. The first time is gonna be at the release point when you let go of the flag. The second time is gonna be up in the air, and then it's gonna come down, and that's when you go in for the catch. So let me give you a quick preview of that real quick. You cone, it goes up, up, squeeze. So notice that went up twice before I put my hands in. So when it's up there for that second time in the air, as the silk rounds off on the side of the wall over here, I start to bring my hand up to go in for the catch once it's past the side of my body. But again, watch it go up twice before you start putting your hands in. If I don't do that and I put my hands in too early, then I'm not gonna get the full rotation of the pop toss. So as you guys are working on your pop toss, I want you to consider two things in relation to your body underneath the toss. The first thing is gonna be your free arms. And what I mean by that is essentially your arms that are free after you've let go of a toss. So whenever you're releasing a toss, whatever those arms were on your release, that's the free arm that you wanna keep underneath the toss until you go in for the catch. Obviously this differs for choreography, but for technique, you wanna really commit to those free arms as much as possible. For a pop toss, that is the right hand straight up into the air and the left hand down connected to my side. So as I go through that, I wanna make sure when I let go, I maintain those free arms into the last possible second before I go in for the catch. That gives just a clearer picture and also shows you technically what you're doing correctly. The next thing that I want you guys to think about as you're working on your pop toss, the tendency for a lot of people when they're first learning a pop toss is as they let go of the flag, they give just the slightest bit of a jump or they lift their heels off the ground while they're releasing. It may feel like it's helping you, but I promise you it's not. So let me give you just a quick view of what that looks like. Where they give just the slightest bit of a lift in their lower body to compensate for the extra rotation. You want to avoid this because it's teaching you bad habits that won't help you in the long run. And again, it just doesn't help you get the toss it. It actually hinders you because you're adding more underneath instead of just focusing on the release itself. So if you find that you're someone who is struggling with that, a good little trick that you can do to help avoid that is while you're prepping for your toss, lift your toes off the ground. That causes you to plant your heels into the ground and you become a little bit more stable, and it prevents you from lifting your heels up as you release the pop toss. It also forces you to keep your feet still underneath so you're not moving side to side as you're letting go of it. And lastly, building off what I just said, you wanna make sure that as you release this toss, you try and keep your feet planted where they are. A lot of times when you're first learning, naturally you're gonna be sending your flag one way or another and you're gonna have to run for it to go and catch it. But as you get more comfortable with the pop toss, you really wanna commit to keeping your feet in one spot as you release the toss and not allowing yourself to take extra baby steps that are unnecessary because you still end up in the same spot, right? So if you're just taking small steps, that's just a little bit of like a, not necessarily fear, but just like a worry of the toss. You know, you may be less comfortable with the toss itself, but the more that you can commit to sticking with your feet in one place, the better that your underbody will look and the more consistent you'll be in the technique of the pop toss. So quick recap over everything we talked about today. We discussed how to complete a pop toss from the start position all the way through to the catch position. Afterwards, we discussed how to count a toss, making sure we see the silk go up twice before putting our hands in for the catch. And then we went over things such as our free arms and our underbody to make sure we have a clear and solid picture underneath our toss. And that was our video on tosses. I hope you guys had a lot of fun. I know it can be super exciting getting into tosses for the first time, but please make sure that as you're practicing that you're being very safe and careful of yourself as well as those who may be around you. We don't need anyone bumping their head on a flag. Please make sure to like the video down below. And as always, if you have any questions related to the pop toss or really anything in color guard, please feel free to comment that down below. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next synced up equipment video.